statues were defaced, former Democratic Party leader Howard Dean, maybe the dumbest person ever to run the DNC, tweeted this: "Unfortunately, Christians don't have much of a reputation for anything but hate these days, thanks to Franklin Graham and Jerry Falwell and other Trump friends." End quote. Eric Metaxes is a Christian. He's the author of the book, If You Can Keep It, The Forgotten Promise of American Liberty, and also of maybe the single best biography of Martin Luther. He joins us tonight. Eric, thanks so much for coming on. So here you have the former head of the DNC attacking Christianity as a religion of hate and its disciples as haters. Imagine Howard Dean saying that about any other religion. What would the response be, do you think?
Listen, you got to give Howard Dean a pass. He's a jughead. You cannot take him seriously. Here's the issue. When you start to scapegoat Christians and you say it's because of them that these things are happening, unfortunately, you fall into the trap of being like the Emperor Nero when Rome burned. And of course, he could have done something about it and he didn't. He blamed the Christians. It's very convenient. It's happening now. I think a lot of the nastiness that is being directed at these statues, it really has to do with something deeper, Tucker. I hate to say it, but there's something very dark. You saw this in the French Revolution. There was a hatred at the bottom of it of God, of any kind of authority. And these people are drunk with the idea that they can, somehow be an authority themselves, that they can seize power. Right. And if you really want to cut to the chase, you forget about statues of generals and things. You go right for God. You go right for the Virgin Mary. My goodness, you go for churches. You cut to the chase. Someplace in Moby Dick, one of the greatest novels ever written by a great American, he talks about Ahab, who's consumed with rage, wanting to strike through the mast. In other words, sort of to punch a hole in the sky and murder God. That's really where the source of hatred is coming from. It's a hatred of God and a sense of deep injustice. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about something that goes way beyond Confederate generals.
I think you're right. The acknowledgement of God suggests that you're not the ultimate authority, that there's someone more powerful than you and our leaders can't stand it. I do think, though, that Christian leaders play a role in this. I mean, Muslim leaders, to their credit, if they watched mosques burn and Islamic monuments be defaced, the Islamic Center in Washington, they would not put up with it for 1 second. They would say something. I don't see Christian leaders doing the same, and I don't know why.
Well, I'll tell you why. There are many Christian leaders who don't understand the Bible. When David killed Goliath, it wasn't like before he became a Christian and then he became a Christian and he repented. No, we celebrate David killing Goliath. There are many instances of Scripture where people fight. Elijah, the prophet, is sarcastic. That has been lost. There are many people, they've got a watered-down kind of Christianity. They're offended by Trump. They seem to think that being nice is what it means to be a Christian. Well, if someone is raping a family member and you sit there and you say, well, I'm going to pray about it, but I'm not going to try to stop that, it brings us really to Bonhoeffer. Bonhoeffer understood that the most Christian thing he could do was participate in a plot to kill Hitler, because he understood there were victims. When you know that there are people suffering, if you don't do something about it, you are to blame. And actually, interestingly, when Kristallnacht happened, Bonhoeffer knew that this attack on the Jews by these mobs, as far as I'm concerned, who were animated by the spirit of Antichrist, these were not just political mobs. There's something deeper and darker. He understood that this attack on the synagogues, it was an attack on God himself. There's a rage and a sense of envy that, I don't like to use the word too lightly, but there's something satanic about it. There's something about it that is an unbridled, roaring fury. And if you don't treat it in the way that it needs to be treated, if you don't deal with it with some force, really then you are allowing other people to be harmed. And any Christian leader who doesn't understand that this is a Marxist, violent organization. This has nothing to do anymore with George Floyd and with that they've hijacked this, and everything they want to do. They want to burn down everything that has been built by good people over centuries, most of whom, of course, were Christians.
You have a right, and we need to preserve the right to live in this country as a faithful Christian, period. And our leaders should help, I think. Eric Metaxes, thank you for that analysis. Really smart.
Always good to see you. Thank you.